everyone, welcome to Married with Wrestling. I am Susan and this is Chris, and we talk about what we like, what we don't like. I don't know if we have any dislikes this week, but we just talk about all things WWE, AEW, and NXT, as Chris always makes us point out. Mm-hmm. So, what do we have to talk about today?
Well, I outlined 6 things for us to talk about today. You earlier alluded to dislikes, and I think I honestly have to say the only thing that I don't really care for right now that's going on is I'm kind of done with the New Day Final Testament story.
I'm kind of also done with, are we talking both AEW and WWE?
Sure.
I'm also done with Jericho's feud with Hook.
Man, the Jericho feuds just feel like they go on forever. It's like every other feud is like a normal, novel-sized feud, and all of Jericho feuds are like a Stephen King book length of feud.
Yes.
But we're going to hit on our 6 topics of things that I think we'll agree are going pretty well, and plus maybe a little bit of the debate at the end. But we're going to start with, we haven't seen you guys since SummerSlam. I'm happy to be right that Roman's back. My tribal chief is back. Acknowledged.
OTC.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. I think I'm like one of the very few people that I don't mind Solo and the new tribal chief thing.
I think Solo fits his role well. He's supposed to feel like he's not up to snuff. Like, he's not supposed to feel like a legit threat. He's not supposed to have Roman's charisma.
No, so I'm enjoying it.
Like, I've seen a lot of people say that Solo is badly cast in this. I don't think so at all.
I don't think so.
Solo's not supposed to measure up. If he did, there would be no need for Roman to come back.
Yeah.
But Roman saw an imposter, or as Cody referred to Solo, as a wannabe. Mm-hmm. I also like this story because it gets the bloodline out of the title picture for a minute, and Cody can do other things.
Yeah.
But now that Roman's back, Roman's been back now. This is his 2nd SmackDown in a row. So I've seen a lot of people comment, thank you, Solo, for getting Roman to come to work more than 1 week in a row. And Roman's pretty much disposed of the Tongans and Solo, no problem. But last night, he finally met his match, and he got nuked by Jacob Fatu, which is definitely seems like that's what they're pushing, is Roman's weakness will be Jacob, because
and
Jacob
he even did it with a boot on his foot.
Yeah, he did it with a boot on his foot. I really like Jacob Fatu. I think he's going to become a major player out of this story. I can't wait to see what else he does. But Roman got his own triple powerbomb through a table last night. That's how SmackDown ended. So now we're in the camp of Roman needs some help. So, the obvious questions. Where's Jimmy? Is Jay even going to acknowledge what's going on? Is Sami Zayn going to acknowledge what's going on? Where's that help going to come from? Where's Paul Heyman? And I know for me it's been very weird because he had a crew for so long. It's weird to watch Roman ride solo.
Yeah.
Like, it's very strange. Like, it feels like things are missing.
He's Jason Derulo and that shit. Didn't he have a song called Riding Solo?
Oh, we gotta figure out where Roman's gonna get his help from. It's gonna be interesting. Roman's a free agent, so I've seen people say that Roman, it wouldn't be out of character, or it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for him to pop up on Raw to try to find some help, which is where Jay and Sammy live. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. We'll see where he's gonna find his help from. I think we're definitely going towards a War Games match in November. So we've got a few months to build it. But we'll see where it goes. I'm glad to see Roman's back. I'm glad to see that they're away from the title picture for a little bit and kind of doing the family drama amongst itself. I'm sure at some point The Rock's going to come back in. I still think The Rock is the one kind of running solo.
Maybe.
But he's not going to take that failure much longer.
He hurt? Isn't The Rock hurt right now because he was prepping for a movie, or am I thinking
I'm not
somebody
sure.
else?
It's hard to tell. Wrestling is so weird because you hear stories and then you don't see those stories again, and then they randomly pop up again. Like, wrestling is really weird to follow. It's not like all the other entertainment.
It's not like mainstream.
Yeah, it's very hard to, and you have a lot of people like throwing out bogus headlines just to get clicks. It's a very difficult entertainment venue to follow and know. What's real, what's rumor, what's not. Then you got to factor in what's story.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult medium to find. So it's hard to tell where The Rock is. For all we know, The Rock's on a beach somewhere drinking his tequila and just collecting money.
I see the commercial all the time. He just repeats it over and over and over again in that commercial.
I don't know.
And I still don't remember it.
So that's what's going on with the Bloodline. So let's shift gears and let's talk about another family implosion that's happened since the last time we've seen all of you. Okay, so the other family that we've seen implode at SummerSlam is the Judgment Day. And not only did it implode, it really imploded.
I'm here to see how this new Judgment Day shakes out.
Oh, I'm not against it at all.
Yeah,
it's
no,
just like
it's
the
different.
Judgment Day died a violent, horrible death.
I mean, the only people that are different is just Rhea and, oh my god, Damian Priest are no longer in it. Well, I guess Liv's in it. Carlito's an official member.
I'm so glad they held on to Carlito. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Listen, Judgment Day Carlito is...
You love Carlito.
Judgment Day Carlito sustains me. Like, it keeps me alive through the week. God bless you, Carlito. So at SummerSlam, obviously, Dom did turn on Rhea. We called that going into SummerSlam. And Finn turned on Priest. And I think we both kind of thought that was going to happen. I didn't expect it to happen the same night.
Yeah.
Like, the Judgment Day really did, like, get obliterated.
Evil Finn is such good Finn.
It is. And I love that the reason that they got thrown out makes sense. Because the Judgment Day has always pushed themselves as friends that have each other's back and no leaders. So it would make sense that the two people that wanted to be leaders got booted. So it's very...
Also,
I am so happy that wrestling makes sense sometimes.
Also, end story, Dom just wanted his D on another woman.
No, Dom made it clear on Raw. He gets more tendies in video games.
No, that's not. No. He wanted a new woman. You can't fool me.
Okay.
He traded in Rhea for a new and shiny new toy.
Yeah.
And he gets respected more. Because she calls him daddy.
Yeah, he gets to live that dynamic that Rhea got to live. But I love it. The reason he gave on Raw was he gets more tendies. I just, the picture of Dom with the giant tray of tendies sends
Which is just so funny
every time.
because we all now know that that's really all he likes to eat is...
I know, he's like a child.
Yeah.
He's like a 3-year-old that's like, no vegetable. Chicken tenders. All the chicken tenders. We've got this solidification between Rhea and Dom. And I guess I saw something actually before we went on this morning. I saw where apparently Jey Uso and Damian Priest have been having dark matches at shows. And like at the end of dark matches, they're friendly. So people are wondering if they're going to take that friendship to TV. And Jey Uso is going to start having Damian Priest's back, which makes sense because Jey Uso talked about making a play for Rhea Ripley. So
that's true, yeah.
So that tracks. That would make sense.
Because he needed for her.
Yeah, that was it. And Dom got so mad for no reason.
Yeah, you were already with Liv at the time.
Yeah.
So getting your chicken tendies.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you were mad that Rhea yeeted.
Yeah. And this works out so well too because it's a way to get Damian Priest out of the title picture without him like having to have Gunther put him down further. He gets to stay protected and focus on Finn, and that allowed Gunther to move on to Randy Orton.
Yeah.
The transition since Triple H took over, the transitions have been so much smoother in how things happen the way they're supposed to. Like
it makes so much
sense.
easier to follow.
It does. It really does.
It keeps me entertained more.
It does. And
it's like a daytime soap opera for
me. You're rewarded for
I guess
following.
guys might not want to hear that, but I mean, I hate to break it to you guys. Literally, the same stories are happening on my Real Housewives shows that happen in the wrestling world. It's just in a different format. I hate to break it to all you masculine men that watch this.
Okay, but I bet on your Housewives.
Shit on Bravo.
I bet on your Housewives we didn't have a badass moment like we had at SummerSlam where Damian Priest is literally getting the life choked out of him and still thinks to reach out and choke Finn.
Well, no, but we did have this awesome moment where a woman was pretending to be somebody else to get gossip on everybody, and they found out, and it was this big dramatic moment. So it's kind of, I could see that happening in wrestling. Do
your Housewives have a Carlito? A Judgment Day Carlito?
I'm sure they do somewhere.
I doubt it.
Matches up to them.
Nothing's going to beat the greatness of Judgment Day Carlito. But like I said, I'm glad he's still in the group. The Judgment Day, like you said, is still the same. We just swapped out Liv for Rhea, or Rhea for Liv.
And kicked out
Priest. We haven't even added somebody to replace Priest. I don't think we need to.
No.
Either. I keep hearing rumors in the pipeline that the Judgment Day is going to change their name. I guess the name that's being rumored right now is they're going to change their faction name to Street Trash.
No.
Not really feeling that one.
How? No.
It's really... one thing I've learned, the more I've watched wrestling, and especially when I play the video games, it's really hard to come up with a cool name for a faction. Like, Sonya Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark call themselves the Pure Fusion Collect. That's too wordy.
See,
It's too wordy. Just go with Pure Fusion.
What do you mean? We literally have the Blackpool Combat Club.
But you can go BCC.
But Pure Fusion, whatever it is too long.
But you could go BCC. What are you going to do with Pure Fusion Club? The PFC?
Why not?
That sounds like an STD. I have PFC. Actually, it sounds like private first class. That's what it sounds more like.
Yeah, I don't hear STD in that at all. I think you're overthinking it. I think if somebody else can have a super long name and just make it into things, then so can they.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with the Judgment Day. Apparently, Damien is definitely on Finn's shit list. I feel like they're going to have a fight. I feel like they're going to have an initial match at Bash at Berlin. They're going to do something, but I feel like they're going to have a stick match at Bad Blood. I feel like Bad Blood is going to be appropriately named because I feel like we're going to have a lot of blood feuds going on there. I think we're going to possibly do something with Roman and Solo at Bad Blood.
Yeah.
Judgment Day is definitely going to throw up at Bad Blood. It's going to be interesting.
Throw up?
They're gonna throw hands, and I feel like they want to make Bad Blood a big deal because they keep promoting it. They don't normally promote the B-level pay-per-views like that, especially when they have one right now at Bash in Berlin.
I mean, it doesn't bug me because every time that I see him I just think of the Taylor Swift song. So then I start thinking, I just start singing her song in my head. So then I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. Lord. And that's what's going on with the Judgment Day, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so if you've been watching NXT, there's a certain presence that's taken over NXT. You've been a believer for a long time.
Since I first saw him.
Yeah.
Which I only saw him when he came to NXT, though, so...
Yeah. So, if you haven't seen... And he's everywhere. He's everywhere. And that's Joe Hendry. I saw a clip the other day where they were talking about baseball on something, and Joe Hendry just went by on the screen doing his little clapping and turn. Like, it's crazy. One of WWE's most popular acts right now doesn't even work for them. But, they're gonna, as soon as his TNA contract, they're gonna snatch him up quick.
No way, yeah.
They have already made their inroads to do it, yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I know there's a few people they got their panties in a bunch about that. They're like, oh, they're just rife in TNA talent. Well, I mean, Joe Hendry wants to go get paid. I mean, who wouldn't?
I mean, I know that people have a lot of different views of wrestling. I've learned that, so.
One thing about Joe Hendry that I could definitely chalk up is Joe Hendry had a mini feud. By mini feud, I mean 2-week feud with Gallus. And for you, it was the first time you were invested in anything Gallus was.
I was going to say, Gallus was never more... they are so boring. I want to fall asleep when they come on the screen.
Oh, man.
But they came out, or they're with Joe Hendry, and they had personality. Mm-hmm. And it was great. I've never liked them before in my life.
Yeah.
No, I take that back. I did like Wolfgang whenever I watched him on NXT UK. I really liked his hair, and maybe that was it.
That's probably
But
it.
I did really like him in NXT
Because Wolfgang really hasn't changed much since then.
I think I just really liked
He just paired up with the Coffee Brothers. That's about it. He even did that back then. We watched that happen live.
I think I just liked his hair.
Mm-hmm. But it's funny. Joe Hendry has his hands in all kinds of things. This week he proceeded to piss off Ethan Page, and Ethan Page's over-the-top reactions just held.
Or that's not difficult to do.
No, it's not. And let me just say, Ethan Page is killing it on NXT. Everything they've given him to do, he's taken with it and run.
He even got to be on SmackDown.
Yeah, he made an appearance on SmackDown and got a pop.
Yes.
The live threads popped for him when he showed up.
That's so exciting because Ethan Page just deserves everything.
He does. He's a really, really good dude, and I love that he's having so much success.
Me too.
But we've got Joe Hendry shaping up for #1 contenders match next week, so it's a very interesting trio. It's Joe Hendry, heel Wes Lee, because Wes Lee killed the Rascals.
Which was sad. I was very excited whenever they got back together.
I kind of wondered if it would be short-lived.
I thought we'd at least survive a night.
Wes Lee had all he could take.
He's the one that got pinned.
He screwed up one more title opportunity, and that was it. Kill everyone in the world. But it's going to be Joe Hendry, Wes Lee, and Pete Dunne in a triple threat. That match, I'm interested to see what that match looks like. There's a lot of people have said, I've seen a lot of knocks on Pete Dunne about how he doesn't have much personality.
But that is his thing. He's he's always angry. That's his thing. He'll break you.
He just broods.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a freaking brute.
Yeah.
What do you think? He's going to be rainbows and sunshine?
He's going to be a distinct third personality between Joe Hendry and Wes Lee.
People, come on.
Mm-hmm. but I'm not sure who's going to win that. I lean toward Joe Hendry, but I really think to sell the heel turn, well, even then, you'd have heel and heel. I don't know that heel Wesley's going to strike as well against Ethan Page. Rascals might screw over Wesley.
Yes, and that might not matter, because sometimes it doesn't matter. You get in your head about that sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't matter as much as you make it out to be. You do that often. You get in your head about heel and faces, and then it ends up not mattering as much as you make it out to be.
I just feel like whenever you do a heel-heel match, it's really hard to find somebody for the crowd to pull for because they've been conditioned to hate both people in the match.
Well, here's my thought on it. If you have a heel and a heel in a match, they're probably really both liked, so you're going to get pops no matter what.
Okay, fair enough.
So
Fair enough. But I do feel like it's going to be Joe Hendry. I feel like Joe Hendry's going to win. Ethan Page will kill him. I'm not sure who's going to take the title off Ethan Page at this point. I mean, maybe it will eventually circle back to Trick Williams. It could be Javon Evans.
Javon, yeah.
But Javon wasn't on NXT this week. They've been doing. It's weird. I don't understand what they're doing with Javon. Like, they did vignettes. They introduced him.
You have to keep.
They brought him back.
Too.
They did more vignettes.
Well,
he got
hold on. Not everybody is on NXT every week. They literally cycle through people, so you don't always see the same people every week.
Okay, but we got a vignette for Javon Evans after he'd already had a NXT title shot. That
happens sometimes. We have that happens in NXT because they're not every week. Like, just because you might not be on there every week, but they still show vignettes for you.
Okay.
Have you not noticed that?
Yeah, because Eddie Thorpe gets a vignette like every other week.
Yeah, and he's not there. Mm-hmm. That's just how NXT does it.
I'm just trying to figure out if they're going to push Eddie Thorpe or not.
He keeps getting hurt, doesn't he?
I don't know if it's that. Now him and Lexis King are feuding over music style.
I think that's funny.
It is. It gives me very Edge and Booker T feuding over a shampoo commercial back in the day vibes. But
yeah.
It gives them something to do. It gets them on TV. I'm sure they're not complaining.
So you were okay. You think that's too wild, but you're okay with Tony D literally murdering people? That's hilarious, but somebody feuding over music style is too wild for you to comprehend?
It's not that it's wild, it's just like, that's a really funny reason to fight. I think EDM sucks. Classic rock's the best. No, EDM's the way of the future. Let's go fight.
We are married and we get over fights over the dumbest shit. But you're telling me that's too crazy of a fight to have?
Well, it's different. Marriage is real life. Like, this is
I don't think you're going to win this one because I don't understand where you're coming from, because while we have seen so many awful things... Okay,
fine. I will just say it's not my favorite reason somebody has feuded.
I love music, so I'm down for it.
Yeah. Oh.
Sorry, if it was about 80 hair bands, you'd be down. 80s hair metal bands, you'd be down then.
I'm in Lexis King's corner on this feud. Lexis King listens to the music I listen to.
I like Eddie Thorpe.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, something else that happened in NXT recently is, this week, Chase U's the new tag champs.
Yeah, which is exciting.
Yeah, and you were praising NXT and Chase U because they got you to do the one thing you never thought you could do. They got you to care about Ridge Holland.
So it's not like a CM Punk level care. Uh-huh. Like, CM Punk is... whatever about him. Mm. But Ridge, I just didn't like him because he just kept hurting people. But then they, had him... he seems better, so... Mm-hmm. So I can... It's not like I hated him. That's, Punk level. Mm-hmm.
But you didn't really find him interesting.
No, I felt him very unsafe. I felt like he was very unsafe. I didn't like how they kept using that as a storyline for him. And it's no, you literally ended a wrestler's career. I don't think that's a good storyline. Mm-hmm. So I think they're in a good place right now. Yeah.
We'll see. You think Ridge blows up Chase U? I think Duke Hudson's going to blow it up.
Because I think he's going to get jealous.
I think he will too.
Yeah.
I think he will too. Because he was pretty hurt that he wasn't picked. And now he's successful and Andre and Duke weren't.
Yeah.
It's interesting. We say it every week. Give NXT a shot. There's some good stuff going on there. Despite what I said about the music feud. Like I said, I didn't say the feud was terrible. I just said it wasn't my favorite reason for two people to feud.
And I like it. I think it's fun how a feud always goes down. So I'm enjoying it. I enjoy it, honestly, much more. I don't understand Tony D's thing. The Mafia thing. I don't fully get it. That does not compute to me in wrestling terms. But I know you love it, so I feel like it's something like that. this music thing, it computes perfectly to me. Like, I love it. It's a simple feud.
See, I like it. You don't watch the kind of movies that Tony D's whole story satirizes.
No, I don't like those.
And I've seen those, and that's why I appreciate it, because to me it's just like, it's a walking mob movie cliche. It's fun.
I don't get it. It's just kind of like, you literally, you can't murder somebody, like, let's stop this, like, whatever. Like, I don't like those movies either. So.
That would be why you don't get Tony D.
Yeah, but see, I love music, and I love that feud between Lexus King and Eddie Thorpe. So.
Well, that's why, we used to say it, at the end of our show. Yeah, everybody can find something to enjoy. AEW. So AEW is shaping up for All In. All In is a week from, this video will go up on Sunday, so it's a week from today. And the card is shaping up to be pretty good. We've got Swerve and Danielson. I think Danielson's done. Like, it really feels like kind of like the end of Sting's run. Like, that video package that they did for him on Dynamite was really, really good. I know it made you a little emotional.
Yeah, because I love Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
But then I heard that Swerve said that he's going to murder Bryan Danielson in front of his family that's going to be front row, and all I can think about is, am I going to get to see Brie Bella? So, like, I was so excited for that.
Yeah, I think Swerve's going to kill him.
Yeah, I just want to see Brie.
I think it's going to be very emotional because Bryan Danielson cares so much about wrestling. If this is his retirement and he loses to Swerve in the main event, I think he's going to be extremely emotional. I feel like it's going to be very hard to watch. And it's going to be like, it's always weird watching a retirement match. Like, we hear about people retiring all the time, but most of us, in our jobs, we race to retirement. Like, we can't wait to get there.
Right?
We can't wait to get out of the bullshit.
Right. And I would love to have a job where I am sad about retirement.
Yeah.
Instead of just dreaming about the day of retirement.
And you got these guys, like with The Undertaker, like, he kept prolonging it because he wanted to go out on the perfect retirement. Like, I couldn't imagine having to give something up because your body will not physically allow you to do it anymore. Especially something you love. Like, that is something I will never be able to fully comprehend.
I wish I...
Yeah.
I wish I loved something as much as Bryan Danielson loves wrestling.
Yeah, really? Really? So I think it'll be... Well, I think it'll be really sad to watch. If he does, we could be wrong and he could win the world title, but I just don't... He's been building up for a while. Hey, this is probably it. And the reports that have come out aren't very promising.
And the fact that his family's going to be there...
Here's my thing. If Bree and Birdie are on screen...
And Buddy.
I forgot they had
another... Is it
another...
Buddy? Is that their other child's name?
I forgot they had another kid.
A kid, yeah.
If the family is on screen in the front row, he's done.
Yeah.
If they're backstage, like they're not on screen, it could go 50-50.
Yeah.
But I think if they're on screen in the crowd, we lay eyes on them, he's done.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm going to determine.
I want to lay eyes on them.
Yeah.
And the Bella twins.
Yeah. And what an accolade for Swerve. Swerve's somebody I've been a fan of for a long time as well. That I'm really happy to see get success. And meeting him on the cruise, it reinforced that because he's a really nice guy.
I know. Chris mentions daily how we saw Swerve on the cruise performing a concert with women's butts and boobs jiggling in his butt. He mentions this daily, we see this.
He was the coolest son of a bitch on that boat, I'm sorry.
And then you told him when you saw him.
Yeah, I did. But anyway, so we have that going on. Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker's kind of heating up. Of course, there's a lot of stuff that's come out about Britt Baker, so I don't know. I don't think Britt's going to win, and I kind of wonder what Britt's going to do after.
She needs to not burn so many bridges in your job place.
Yeah.
It's not smart to burn bridges where you work.
Yeah, but in her defense...
Unless it's for, like, a good cause. In her defense, she's being shitty.
No, you didn't let me finish my sentence. In her defense, WWE has been ready to reward people and throw money at them for burning down the locker room on the way out of AEW.
True.
CM Punk.
Andrade.
Yeah. Like, they've been fine with that. That helps their bottom line.
It's against AEW.
Yeah, it helps their bottom line. Let's see. The Casino Gauntlet match, which will be fun. Orange Cassidy's going to come out first in that one. I think we might finally get the Orange Cassidy heel turn. I think he might finally solidify his alliance with Don Callis. I'm a little worried it's not going to hit as strong because it feels like this has kind of been an ongoing story beat for a while. I feel like
I forgot it was happening.
See, that's the issue.
But
they should stuff on the
I
arms.
have a really hard time. I have a really hard time focusing on AEW anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a few things really get me in, like the Tony Storm and Mariah May feud.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only thing I can think of right now. It's really drawing me in and getting my attention.
The
Like,
Tony
it's
Storm,
boring me right
the Tony
now.
Storm Mariah May feud. Please give that match a stipulation. This match
so
cannot
stupid if
be
they
a
don't
regular
have one.
wrestling match.
No.
They cannot have a regular wrestling match. They can't. They keep talking about dying. Let's give them a stip that they might actually die. Like, I don't really want them to die, but let's do something. Let's do something crazy. Like, why don't we? I don't know. A one-on-one blood and guts match.
Yeah.
Like, how would that look? Like, you could call it a one-on-one blood and guts, but in reality, it's just a WWE Hell in a Cell match. But you can't call it Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
So just call it a one-on-one blood and guts match, or a blood and glory match, or something, and put those two in that box. Give them a bunch of weapons, and let them fucking destroy each other, because it could be match of the night if they do.
Yeah.
It could steal the show if they do. And we're talking about stealing a show that has Swerve and Danielson and MJF and Ospreay on it. But if
Their feud is just so good.
it is, and it's because they're both so batshit crazy. Like, Mariah May has really embraced the dark, like, I had to kill her kind of deal. And Tony Storm was off her fucking rocker to begin with, and now she's just all the way off the reservation.
She's channeled her mommy dearest moment. Now her hair is black. It's not blonde. Like, she's... Yeah.
And here, honestly, here's what I would do. If you don't want to do the one-on-one blood and guts, that's fine. You know what you do? You put a bunch of weapons outside. You let them go everywhere. You call it you call it a Hollywood street fight.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Done. They're not in Hollywood. They're in London, but screw it.
Tony Storm is like
call it the Piccadilly Circus fight. I don't care. We've got Darby and Jack Perry in a coffin match. That match is going to go insane. That match should mirror the Tony Storm Mariah May match.
I'm very nervous for that match. That match is like, Jack Perry's already been burned. He's already been caught on fire. He's literally been... They tried to murder him with a chair.
He was pretty much crucified in the blood and guts match.
Yes, like...
Oh my. Yeah, Darby and Jack are going to kill each other.
I feel like Jack Perry needs to win this, though, because Darby always gets the best.
Mm-hmm. Darby's got a couple things lined up, because even after... Because he won the Royal Rampage, which you and I haven't watched Rampage in months, so I just kind of found that out in passing. Rampage did something significant, and we missed it. But because of that, Darby Allin gets his TNT title shot at All In, and then he gets a world title shot at All Out. 2 weeks later. So, I think Darby's going to win one and lose the other. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's going to win the world title from Swerve. I think if he was going to, I think they need to build that up more. Mm-hmm. Because Swerve and Darby have such a history. Mm-hmm. I feel like that should take like a month to build. I know Sting put out a statement saying that he'll be just down the road and he's interested to see what happens. So a lot of people were thinking if Darby does beat Swerve, Sting might be in the rafters to watch it happen.
Oh, that
would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Let's see. Is there anything else for All In? Ospreay and MJF. MJF has kind of just taken on, we'll call it an interesting persona that kind of ties into current events. We'll go with that. With the American Championship, I kind of wonder if they're going to keep, if this was their way of making it the American Championship, if they're going to keep it that way, because the International Championship and the Continental Championship sound so similar. But I don't know. We're getting Claudio and Okada on the Dynamite before All In. I'm kind of sad those two aren't fighting on All In. We're going to have a tag team championship match between the winner of the Acclaimed and FTR. They're going to take on the Young Bucks at All In for the tag titles. I think we're going to end up doing a triple threat there. We have a Trios championship match coming up with the Patriarchy, which Christian Cage is still continuing to kill it. Mm-hmm. I love that Mother Wayne is the third champion because screw Kill Switch. I love that that's the approach he took.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be him, or his faction, the House of Black, and Bang Bang Gang, Juice and the Guns. Mm-hmm. Which I really enjoy Juice and the Guns, too. I like everybody in this little trios sphere.
Yeah.
I enjoy all of them. So I'm sure there's going to be more matches announced, but that's our card so far.
Willow and Statlander are on the
on the pre-show.
Which is stupid, I think, because you have Jericho and Hook, you need to bump them to the pre-show.
See, I forgot about Jericho and Hook.
And then put Willow and Stats thing in there because they've had a good feud. Bump Jericho and Hook to the pre-show. It's just for the FTW champ. It's not even a real freaking AEW championship.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yes.
I do think Jericho and Hook should be on the pre-show.
Yes.
And Statlander and Willow Nightingale have had a good enough of a feud.
They've had a good build to their feud.
They could. It would be a good...
It's been a consistent thing that they've been building this feud. And what do? You put them on the freaking pre-show or the buy-in show.
You already gave away the one-on-one match.
Yeah.
The fact that Stokely's in this match is hilarious.
I know. Like, there's no reason why this isn't on the main card.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure. But I think All In will be fun. Last year's All In was fun. I know you like it because AEW cards run long, but this one's going to be in the middle of the day.
Yes. AEW puts way too many matches in their pay-per-views.
I would agree, and I think...
I can't focus long enough anymore on them.
And
their pay-per-views are way too long.
I think since they're doing more pay-per-views, I don't think they need as many matches.
No.
You can resolve stuff on TV. WWE, not to compare, but they have done a pretty good job. Like, there's people that get left on off of the card, but they usually make the go home SmackDown or go home Raw a big deal because of it.
Yeah, and that's okay if not everybody's on the show.
Yeah, like it's perfect. Like they're using the Intercontinental title and the tag titles as main events on weekly TV, and stuff happens with those. That's fine. That's a good use of those.
Yeah.
If you have a good enough feud build up, you could put it on the pay-per-view, but you don't have to rush anything. Yeah. And the pay-per-view stays concise, and everything that's on the pay-per-view warrants presence on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So I really like how they've been using the go-home shows lately. And it makes the go-home shows more interesting because before, the go-home shows sometimes were the least interesting things because everything was already set. Mm-hmm. We just had to have a show before we got there. Mm-hmm. So I think this is a better use of it, and I think this is something that AEW is kind of doing. I think that's why we're getting Claudio and Okada on the Dynamite before All In. But then again...
Dynamite's doing better than Collision. And I can focus more on Dynamite than I can Collision.
The one thing that's keeping Collision going for me is Christian Cage.
Collision is just everything's thrown together. And I feel like, at least with Dynamite, there's more of a reason for the flow.
Yeah. Collision, the two things I get the most enjoyment out of Collision are watching Christian Cage talk and watching Hologram wrestle. Those are the two things I'm getting the most joy out of on Collision right now. Everything else kind of feels thrown together. Like you said, I think Collision feels a little directionless, which is crazy because when it first started and Punk and Danielson were running the creative, it seemed a lot more pointed than Dynamite did. So it's weird that Collision's kind of gone the other way now. But we'll see.
I just don't want to give that man credit for anything.
Well, he's probably going to take over NXT from Shawn Michaels.
That's so sad to me.
Well, I mean, if he's on screen, you won't even remember that he's there. I just will fail to remind you that he's running.
Oh, I'll remember. He's Punk. He can't be perfect. He's going to do something to fuck up something.
Okay. We'll see how it goes. What do you think of this Cody and Kevin Owens story? I've seen a lot of people call it a filler feud. I've seen people say that it just gives Cody something to do till the bloodline comes back around.
I don't like when there's no reason for somebody getting a title shot. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel like... I feel like Kevin Owens... I love Kevin Owens, but I just feel like he was handed this because of friends with Cody Rhodes, and I think that's bullshit.
That's the story that they're telling.
I know, but I just don't like that.
I wasn't sure how to feel until last night's SmackDown, whenever Kevin Owens was getting ready to just kill Theory and Waller. Mm-hmm. And it didn't really click until somebody brought it up on the live threads, and they were like, oh my god, I get it. Kevin Owens didn't want to challenge for the title because when the title is involved, he does dangerous things and he doesn't want to hurt his friend Cody. Because when it comes to titles, Kevin Owens will absolutely powerbomb Cody on the apron to get that title.
Well, damn, I didn't realize it was that deep, but sure.
Like, it didn't dawn on me, but now that I've read that makes sense.
I guess, yeah.
It does make more sense, and I can understand why Kevin Owens was so resistant. He's like, it's going to come down to Cody, I don't want to have to kill you. But if I'm going to chase that title, I'll kill you. There could have been some kind of like competition to get him to win there or something. Mm-hmm. Like a 4-way or a gauntlet match or something. I don't like when things are just
handed to somebody. Mm-hmm. So, like, and that's what I feel like this is. So I kind of agree with, like, who was that? Austin Theory no, it was
Grayson Waller.
Grayson Waller. Because whenever he said it, I was like, I mean, I don't disagree with you, Grayson. I do think you are right. So
yeah. We'll see. I think we have a couple more weeks to build this story because Bash in Berlin is until the 31st.
It's definitely, in my opinion, it's definitely just a filler thing.
You think so?
Kevin Owens has no chance. There's no time for a feud. It was just yeah, let's just do this. Perfect.
Do you think it's time to turn Kevin Owens heel? Because we've seen him as a heel. He's a fantastic heel.
I mean, sure. Do we have a lot of heels now? I don't know.
Well, let's tally up who our heels are on SmackDown. We've got Carmelo Hayes. We've got Santos. They're firmly in, like, U.S. title realm picture. As far as world title picture, who's heel other than the Bloodline?
I don't know. Then let's turn him heel then. Perfect.
We could use another heel at the top of the
You've
card.
got me convinced. We'll turn him heel.
Okay. I think that could add something to the feud. I mean, if he turns on Cody, that'll get him some heat.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that's against Cody is going to get booed by the crowd.
Yeah.
I think
I myself like Kevin Owens more than Cody Rhodes, if I'm being honest. But I don't understand. I know that so many people love Cody Rhodes. I don't understand the big hype about him. He just says the same thing every week. Yes, his song is catchy. Is that why people like him? Because his song is catchy? Like, I don't understand the hype about him. His wrestling isn't that impressive to me, but I like the flying things, and he just kind of is more old school. So I'm not, like, in love with Cody Rhodes like you are. So, I mean, I would much rather... I like Kevin Owens more than Cody Rhodes, if I'm being honest, but I know Cody Rhodes, everybody's like heaven sent for some reason.
Man, look at you turning on Cody.
I've never been the biggest Cody Rhodes fan. You know this. I've never, like, loved him like everybody else does.
I understand.
Yes, his song is catchy. That's all I really... I don't know.
I don't know.
He's just not my style of wrestling that I enjoy.
Yeah.
He's theatrical. I like how he's so theatrical and he tells good stories, but that's really all I have. Like... Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I know it breaks your heart when I tell you I don't love Cody Rhodes like you do, but...
That's fine. Hey, you ain't bothering me. You ain't bothering me. But yeah, I think this world title feud's going to develop into something interesting. At first, I kind of had the same thought. I was like, well, okay. But I do think we're going to go somewhere with it. I don't know if Kevin Owens goes full heel, but I do think Kevin Owens is going to do some pretty brutal stuff. That this feud might continue after Bash in Berlin in a different light. We'll see. But over on Raw, I also like what Gunther and Randy Orton are cooking up too.
Yeah.
So I think that match will be really good. I'm really glad that I'm going to actually get to see them wrestle because the last time they wrestled was in Saudi Arabia and I don't watch the Saudi shows. So I'm glad that I'm going to get Randy Orton and Gunther. I'm going to get to see it this time.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes. I think it'll be a really good match. I think it'll be hard hitting. Randy Orton is one of the few people that's faced Gunther that makes Gunther look like a normal-sized human.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about was I wanted to kind of get your opinion.
Gosh.
A lot of the discourse that I've seen online recently has said that as far as stories and entertainment value, Raw is running circles around SmackDown. Because
I'm really not the person to ask this question because, yes, Raw's been great, but it's still 3 freaking hours. And I much prefer SmackDown's 2 hours. The 3 hour, once I get to the 2 hour mark of Raw, sometimes I'm just kind of like checking, like, oh my god, how much longer? I start asking, I'm like, is this almost done? Like, is this the main event? Like, how much longer do we have to go? So, like, I myself prefer SmackDown over Raw.
You prefer SmackDown for the length. What about stories?
I myself like SmackDown because it has LA Knight.
Raw's got the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Punk McIntyre.
I don't care about Punk, so that's one.
Gunther. Chad Gable, the Wyatt Six.
I still prefer SmackDown, I think, because I just like it for my schedule.
I really like WWE's format right now of 7 to 10 o'clock on Saturday.
I like that too.
That's a really good format.
Yes. Because I go to bed early, so that still gives me time if I want to do something after the pay-per-view. I don't feel like I have to rush to get to bed.
It's funny. I've seen a lot of people that talk about how, despite the fact that Vince McMahon is an awful human being and Tony Khan seems to be a pretty decent dude by most standards,
Yeah.
they are still alike in a lot of ways.
Well, I think that you can still have like rules.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Tony Khan does great with enforcing those rules with some people, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you can still have rules and not be a shitty person.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tony Khan can have these rules and not be pooping on people's heads. Like that can still happen. Like,
oh man, I feel like that's it. I feel like that story is never going to go away.
That's the one thing that I remember the most about. Whenever anybody says Vince McMahon's name, all that I picture is this old human trying to poop on somebody's head. Like, that's all I picture anymore. And I just picture Brock Lesnar getting a text about it laughing. That's what I picture in my head anymore.
I think Brock Lesnar's thing was he got a text asking if he wanted a video of this woman peeing.
That's fine. But I just know that he was rude to the woman, so I picture him laughing about it.
Probably.
So that's what I picture in my head with these two. They are forever ruined in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it does seem like a lot of the Tony Khan stories where things go wrong is the narrative is that Tony Khan's too nice.
I understand.
Which
Tony Khan, I get it.
Which,
I understand
honestly,
not willing to put a foot down.
Yeah, and like honestly, I will take that any day over the stories of Vince.
I get told so many times in my job, because I mean, I'm a program manager, supervisor. I get told so many times that I'm too nice. So I get it, Tony Khan. I understand. I understand. And I understand that sometimes you just reach a breaking point. And I understand that some of the things that he says and people are like, oh my God, what if he just was at his breaking point and he couldn't take things anymore? I understand. I understand.
But that's going to do it for our show today. So AEW is heading to All In. WWE is heading to Bash in Berlin. NXT is heading to, what do they got coming up? No Mercy is what they got coming up. And I think it's at the beginning of September. So everybody's building to something. Like we've said, there's not much to complain about anymore. Like AEW is a little inconsistent. Sometimes things are a little here and there. Triple H's booking is by no means perfect, but at least it makes sense 80% of the time.
And if you are complaining, that's on you. Like, it's a you issue because you have so many different options. If you're going to complain about something, don't watch it.
Yeah, and if you don't like the major promotions, you've got MLW, you've got Ring of Honor, you've got CMLL, you've got AAA, you've got GCW, you've got Defy, you've got RevPro. There's all kinds of options out there. And the internet has made all of them more accessible.
You don't have to ruin somebody else's experience because you don't like something.
Yeah. There's also New Japan.
Yes.
One I forgot.
Yes.
But yeah, there's something out there for everybody. Wrestling is probably in the best period it's been in since the late 90s. And I've seen a lot of people say that they feel like this era has even surpassed that as far as popularity. Because you see mainstream wrestling references all the time now.
You really do.
With Joe Hendry. I see Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns pop up in places I never would have thought to see the two of them pop up. Like, it is becoming a lot more mainstream.
Which is very exciting because in the past couple years, how many times have we been asked, is it wrestling for children? Do you watch wrestling? Why?
Yeah.
So...
And now when you tell people that, they're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
I heard it's really popular now.
Yeah. So many times I've gotten like, isn't that for kids? And it's like, have you watched wrestling? Because it's not for kids.
No, you watch... I just get anytime somebody says, isn't that for children, I want to show a video of Tony Storm with a shoe in her forehead going, bleeding everywhere. Like, is that for kids?
Right? Like, no. No.
Or Rhea Ripley licking Dominic Mysterio like he's a popsicle. Is this for kids?
Talking about mommy being on top.
Yeah. Or, Jack Perry being lit on fire. Oh, is this for the kids?
Yes, so...
I can't help it that Jack Perry's the Bugs Bunny of AEW right now. Or the Wile E. Coyote would be more the apt comparison.
Yeah.
All we need is Darby...
Wait, wouldn't Darby be the one? No, because he keeps getting him.
Darby be the Roadrunner.
That's true. That's true.
So all we need is Jack Perry to have a safe dropped on his head, and then boom, we have...
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, if you like the content, make sure to give it a like, comment, subscribe, find us on the socials at Married with Wrestling. We won't have a show next week because I will be on the golf course. The weather's finally starting to cool down, so hopefully I'll be able to go out and golf and not have a heat stroke. It takes me longer to play anyway because I suck, so the cooler it is, the better. But we'll be back the week after that. We'll take a look at Bash in Berlin. All In will have happened at that point, so we'll run down what happened with All In. But yeah, like I said, give us a comment, a subscribe. It helps the channel, and it helps us poor social workers out. If there's anything you think we should check out or anything you would draw our attention to, make sure to leave it in the comments as well. Otherwise, we will see you all in 2 weeks.
Later.